if when Jesus was me, the seeds of Abraham was you, right? And now that I have ended up in the same kangaroo court that Jesus ended up in when Jesus met the seeds of Abraham, then how would Jesus be your counselor in the civil and criminal courthouses in Seminole and Orange counties in the state of Florida on August 12, 2008 at 10:40 in the morning, or in the federal courthouse in the Middle District of Florida on February 20th in 2018 at 9:20 in the morning, if not one seed of Abraham was Jesus of Nazareth of Galilee's lawyer in the judgment hall in Jerusalem, right? And these bastards, they doing that shit because they know I'm on the phone. See, but that's what I'm saying, right? That's what I'm saying about you Christians, right? Like, if y'all know who I am and then you trying to let me know you know by doing stuff like you doing, like what kind of, like how are you counselors of anything righteous? Right? If somebody call you and then you for 15 years you try to run them crazy, right? How can they save you from you? Right? See, because now you don't believe in nothing, right? But now you believe that Jesus, like died for you. I mean, why would he die for you to be as nasty as you are? Like, wouldn't that just waste his life? Like, cause you done wasted 15 years of my life, and that's what I'm saying. You done destroyed my family and everything, but you acting like you ain't doing nothing. But then you are supposed to be the example of Jesus Christ. And see, when I'm reading the Bible, that's the same thing Jesus was saying, like, hey man, and then when I read the Quran, it's the same thing the Prophet Muhammad was saying, like, man, y'all supposed to be the examples of what is right. And everything that you doing is being talked about in everything you teaching. But then you saying, man, but you are a descendant of slaves. You are in a country where your ancestors was denied the right to read and write. And now you call yourself a scholar, but you're not writing nothing, right? So how can you be a scholar and all you ever did was be taught? Well, who is the person who you being taught about, right? So if you're a scholar, what are they? Because you're not doing what they did so somebody can learn about you. So if you are a scholar, what is the person who you learning about or who technique you learning, right? Like if you don't innovate, then what are you? You see what I'm saying? So now that I'm changing the game, now here come the seeds of Jesus looking like the seeds of Abraham. But yet they telling me they advocates for Jesus. And I'm saying, well, if you advocates for Jesus, why do you appear before me as Abraham seeds, right? Because Jesus told me about you, but now you say you the seeds of Jesus. And I'm saying, well, not according to the scriptures. So now are you changing the scriptures to fit your narrative? Right? Now, if I am who I am, and if this is a movie about the passion of Christ, then aren't the preachers, the high priest Caiaphas, the Pharisees, the chief priests, the high priests, the scribes, and the elders, how can you be against me in this generation, and this is a movie of the passion of Christ, and you not be in the sequel what they was in the first? Right? In the original. Because now you doing it to me, one man, right? But I'm saying if Jesus didn't have a wife nor children, how can this be the sequel of the Passion of Christ? Now, if Moses had a wife and children, right? He had a father-in-law. He was in Egypt. He fled Egypt. He came back, got his people. Now, why this ain't like that, right? I was in the projects. I fled out of the projects. I learned while I was in the wilderness how to become wealthy enough to support the projects that I ran out of. While I was getting the money up to hire people so they can have the blessing, the devil then called me to have to testify to my wealth. And then I displayed a wealth of knowledge and not a descendants of slaves, saying that I think I'm Jesus. And I'm saying, well, you the one reading the Bible, you the one selling the name Jesus, and I'm the one in court defending me and my family and my generation. So how is Jesus advocating for the church when in the Bible Jesus said, did I teach in your synagogues when your ancestors who were in churches and mosques and temples and stuff now is telling me that about your Jesus or your Prophet Muhammad or your Allah or your God, and he said, have I ever taught in your synagogues, right? And then the Prophet Muhammad is talking about those of you who profess with your mouth to be believers, but in your hearts, you're non-believers. See, this way, see, I'm saying now, am I not now uncovering you you wolves in sheep's clothing? See, now, is the Bible not undressing y'all after I used the law to undress the descendants of Pontius Pilate, right? Now, then I call the descendants of Caesar who done changed their name to Pope, right? And I'm saying, hey, now, look, somebody violating the Florida Constitution, the United States Constitution, the Florida Bill of Rights, the United States Declaration of Independence, right? The United States Bill of Rights, statutory law, the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Then I'm calling the Pope saying, hey, man, somebody violating the Bible, right? Now, why nobody fighting the devil, but everybody fighting the person who calling everybody, right? See, now everybody advocating for the devil, right? Now the devil, this evil spirit, you won't even let it come to court, but you won't let me come out of court. But you say Jesus made it back from the grave. Somebody lying.